Welcome to the collective on this beautiful summer's evening here in England and I think elsewhere. My name is Leah Bowden, and tonight is the All Booked Book Club, and we are discussing the second half of The Storied Life of AJ Fikry by Gabrielle Zevin. And this is our, I guess our third book of the year, right? It's our third book, I think. So, and we're about to wrap up this one and then launch into 2 months of reading poetry together, which is very exciting. Hi, Demelza. So we have, if you're watching on the replay, welcome. I will read out as many of the comments as possible because you can't see the Zoom chat. But there's a small group of us, so hopefully people will just unmute. We'll pretend we're sat around my coffee table and we've all got iced coffees and we're all fanning ourselves and talking about the book together. So we're going to talk about part two. If you missed part one, go back and watch the replay, have a little look. But it's a shorter section. We did the chunk of the book last month, and so we're going to jump in here with part two. Welcome everybody. So glad you have come to discuss the book with us. As I said last time, I think it's probably worth saying this time as well. This book was a little bit racier maybe than some of the others we've suggested. A little bit more language and a few more adult themes. But and I'm realizing the second part as well. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about a few other bits. But the story, we've all been captivated by the story, and I have really enjoyed this book. I remember I've read it twice. This is my third read through, so hopefully you enjoyed it too. And I can't wait to hear what you thought about the ending. So, as we've only got this short bit, I think we'll just go section by section. So, I've got the orange book here, so that I'm starting on page 207. Obviously, at the beginning of every section, we have this little quote or a diary entry, I think, don't we? From AJ. So let me just, I haven't prepared I usually break up all the sections, but we'll just work through it. So it starts the assignment for Maya's creative writing class. So we've got this section where we actually are introduced to an older Maya who is studying and enjoying writing, and she is entered into a competition and she gets into the finals, and so we've got all this kind of awards thing here, so up to about 220. So as ever, just jump in, anything that stood out to you, any particular part you enjoyed, anything that was a standout part that you underlined, just unmute, tell us, and slowly as my hair and the humidity will grow as we're talking, I can see it already.
Oh, it happens to me too.
I know, I'm like, whoa, I'll be like a lioness at the end. All
I
right,
would say
Erica.
for me, switching to part two, it felt jarring. And I feel like I felt what I imagine AJ must have felt, that Maya's life was going too fast,
Right.
which I could relate to
Yes.
as a parent with now adult children as well. So I thought that was interesting because I was like, maybe, that's intentional, that change of pace, and that provoking of that feeling intentional on the author's part. What I really liked is as they are discussing Maya's writing piece in the creative writing class, I realized I'm like, oh, they're describing the same writing style as the author of this book.
Yeah.
And so I thought
Yeah.
that was very clever of attributing that to Maya.
Yeah. I like that. That's good.
I'm trying to read my
Tracy.
own notes here.
Ah.
I read this a couple weeks ago, so I'm like flipping through to remember.
Yeah.
I really liked how the chapter titles, and we had talked about this last time, as short story collections was really brilliant. And I didn't catch on to the foreshadowing in part one until I
Right.
was in part two.
Yes.
like choosing the short story, A Conversation with My Father, you know, dying father argues with his daughter. Um, so I started to appreciate that a little bit more once I caught on to what was going on.
What was going on with him? Yeah, yeah, I know. Yeah. Um, it is interesting how a lot of writers, when I listen to a lot of these podcasts where people talk about their creative journey, and a lot of them start by doing competitions when they're in school or competitions when they're at university, and they um, begin to get their work critiqued. Um, I think it's very brave, very, very brave. Okay, if there's anything else from that little part there, we can go on to A Perfect Day for a Banana Fish. We can, as usual, we can go back and forth. And so here we have the story, A Trip to the Beach. What did you think about his notes on 222? Also, readers will know what an ATM card is. Again, because we don't know what the story is yet, do we? So we kind of read that part, and then we realize, oh, she explains what an ATM card is in the story. I like this little bit where he just gives us some notes there. It's taken me all afternoon to write this sentence. My brain kept making a hash of the phrase universally acknowledged. Because doesn't she say he was quite quiet when they got home? Like he doesn't say too much, does he, at first? But he thinks, I think you should have won first place. No. Okay, so we have the story in type here. Anything you want to say about the story? Because that takes up obviously quite a big part of the book here. Any comments on her writing that you would like to say anything about?
She does her own version of what she thinks happens to her mom, right? I don't have
Yeah.
the book in front of me. I had to return it to the library, so I just have the notes I'd written down.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she does.
Yes, and trying to imagine, she's putting herself in the shoes of someone older than she is and trying to write believably. So it's not very believable, but it's really sweet and kind of sad.
Yeah, because when we do hear the story at the end,
Mhm.
this she gets it quite right, doesn't she? There's so many parts of it that I'm like, she did get that quite right.
I love how she tried to give her mother grace, or at least to
Yes.
construct a story that would
Yeah,
make sense why her mother would do what she did.
and I think that's my understanding and knowing some children who have gone through things like this, um, or been adopted from birth, all those kind of things. The story, they're either angry, so they're either one extreme, or they have this narrative of grace. They have this narrative of they had to do it. They're doing their best, sort of a thing, and that's kind of where she goes with it, doesn't she? This is what she had to do. And she just she's describing the man in the bookstore as grumpy. Okay, so we have her story, and then she obviously gets third place in the competition. Anything else? Doesn't wear the dress, she wears the jeans.
I like the line on, well, I have a different book here, but she says a sentence occurs to her. The day my father shook my hand, I knew I was a writer.
Mm. I love that. Yeah, that's so lovely. Yeah.
It's a great way to um, state their relationship and his support of her and her opinion of him and valuing um, his opinion. That if she had his respect as a writer. And so it was just like, I felt like so much came through in that one sentence.
Yeah. Yeah, because she said in the car on the way home, Amelia congratulates Maya for placing and for writing an amazing story, and AJ says nothing. Maya thinks that AJ must be disappointed in her, but just before they get out of the car, he says, "These things are never fair." So actually, he was kind of feeling the pain of it for her rather than being disappointed, and she just read it wrong. Yeah.
Mhm. I like the very end where he kisses her on the forehead. He's
I
delighted.
know.
A fantastic nerd.
Fantastic nerd. I love that too. Yeah, I love that. All right. Anything else from these sections, guys, that you want to say? Anything else that you enjoyed? What is grade 9? How old is grade 9? Like
About
14? 14. That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. So I'm on page 235 now. So again, we have this like a diary entry reflection here.
This book makes me want to sit down and write a list of books that I want my daughter to read.
Yeah, I know. And I love it when there are books within books, when you kind of it makes me want to look stuff up. And I found this bit interesting. Maya, perhaps you don't know that I had a wife before Amelia and a profession before I became a bookseller. You'd think that kind of stuff would come out with you in those conversations. But then sometimes I will tell my children, my teenagers, things, and they're like, "You've never told me that before." I'm like, "Well, you never asked."
Yeah.
We're often like, you just got to keep asking your parents questions, and eventually it will all come out. You will find out everything. But you definitely would have thought that would have come up in conversation. Yeah, I liked his list of 20th century female poets.
Mhm.
Um, okay, so unless you got anything from there, 239.
I was just going to say
Oh yes, go for it. Hello.
sorry, I've been in and out a bit up until now.
Don't worry, don't worry.
This I heard Erica say that the second half of the book was a bit of like very different.
A jolt.
Yeah, jolt.
Yes.
I thought that too when I was first reading it. I just read all the way through, and it's not until like this time where I've come back to it, not reading the first part, that you see that it really is quite different. I said last time I didn't like Maya. She was too perfect, like she was almost a caricature of herself. But this time she's real.
Yeah.
I felt for the beginning chapters there, and it also made the other characters real. Like in this chapter, Ismay is real, and
yes,
and the police officer Lambiers.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
So yeah, I just felt like it almost was a completely different half of the book. And I do like the way that she's starting to weave everything together, and you see the clues from all the way back in there as well. Yeah.
I felt, and it kind of breaks the characters down a little bit to their. You start to see the nitty gritty. Like Maya grows up a little bit, and we start to see the reality of that. There's almost in their relation in AJ and Amelia's relationship, when the mother comes and buys them all e-readers, and they're actually bickering and arguing, and it's not this perfect romantic. You just think, oh, it feels real now. They're actually having these genuine, real conversations. Yeah, I could see that. So
I have in my notes here.
Yes, go
sorry,
on.
go ahead.
No,
I was
you
gonna
go.
say the episode after Christmas makes it obvious what's coming, but it's as if I didn't want to see it.
Yes. Yeah.
But I don't know what chapter it is, but I had a different book than you, so I don't think my numbers matched up. But did we get past the chapter of when Lambase finds Tamerlane?
It's in this chapter.
It's this chapter.
It's in this
So
one. Okay.
that's where we are now. So
I
this is
did not see that coming.
Yeah,
And I
I
was a
know.
little
I did not.
frustrated with
I
how
did not.
the author leaves it unresolved for even a little more time. And I'm like,
I know.
could you
And
please
you
tell me what's going
and the
on?
fact that it's got Crane all over it, you're like, well, of course it's ruined forever, and they'll never be able to do anything with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't see
Um,
that coming at all either when he was like poking around. I was thinking, well, what's he doing? This is like going to cause
Yeah.
a major problem or something in their relationship. And then he finds the book and you're like, oh, right, okay. Yeah, I wasn't.
But then he
I
just
did
leaves it.
find-
He just
Yeah.
goes and has breakfast. Yeah.
I found Lambase and Ismay's relationship a little bit unbelievable. There was just something about the two characters that I had a hard time believing they would be together.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I could see Lambase going for it, but I just couldn't picture that with Ismay.
They do it very well in the film. If you ever get a chance to watch the film, it's more believable. Oh, it's like they did it very, very well. Yeah, I've tried to find it again. It wasn't on any of the kind of free streaming stuff. I had to, but I have. It is a good film, and they do that. That is more believable.
It wasn't
Um,
how I pictured them though when I watched the film. Like,
oh, did you watch it?
That's
Yeah,
always the
I
way,
know.
isn't it?
you know who I want
Yeah,
to play Ismay? The actress, I don't know why, who played in Notting Hill, which I love. Hugh
Julia Roberts. Oh,
Grant's,
Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant.
with the red hair. She's just real quirky. His sister. That's who I was picturing.
Oh, his sister.
Oh.
Yes.
Just cute
Yeah,
and funny. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, she does seem. I mean, the fact that all her clothes are perfect, aren't they? And her shoes are all lined up. And I didn't quite fit how. Sorry, I'm just going to look at Carol's. Carol watched it yesterday. I did not like how they cast Amelia. Okay, yeah, interesting. I haven't watched it for a couple of years. I need to see it again, but I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed the film. It is very, very good. Okay, yeah. So this is the chapter where where he finds where she finds where he finds all that. So they go on the date, and she doesn't expect it to go anywhere, and then he starts to talk about reading, and I think he surprises everyone, doesn't he, with his little Chief's Pick book club.
I like the bit where she's describing what she likes to read. You know, it's like a great big chunk on page 245. And it got me thinking about what I like to read, because I always think, oh, I like to read a real diversity of, like, you know, different things. And then I thought, actually, there's quite a common theme in a lot of books I read that I enjoy. Like she's saying, well, I like it to be about a woman somewhere far away. And I was thinking, yeah, I've got some kind of narratives in what I choose, actually.
yeah, I'm sure we all do, don't we?
Yeah. Certain
Mm.
things that pop up that you think, oh, I'll enjoy that because it's, you know, it's set somewhere or it's set in a certain time period or whatever. Yeah, it was quite interesting.
Yeah, because in the first half, because he has some strong opinions about people who read sport biographies, doesn't he? And so he has almost these kind of stereotypes about people who like these kind of books, and it did get me thinking. Yeah, I wonder what category I would fall in. Old vintage books. Jean Stratton Porter every time. Yeah.
This book club helps me get away from World War II theme books.
Well, I'm glad.
I'm like, wait,
Well, after the poetry, we're going deep, because we've got C.S. Lewis, and then we've got North. What are we doing last? Is it North and South? It is North and South, right? No, it's a Gaskell. It'll come to me anyway, but it doesn't matter right now because we're doing this. Yes, we've got some heftier ones, but the autumn and winter you can wrap up, can't you? And we can work our way through those. Okay, so we've got this connection over dinner and books, and then obviously they then become inseparable. And but then we have this little we get this peek inside this wardrobe, and we know the bag is there, and we know the book is there. So this is when we first find the mention of it.
Yeah, and I still had no clue where the story was going with that book at that point. I was like, why's she got the book? Like, I just, it just didn't figure in my brain at all as to how that was all going to work out. I couldn't seem to put it together at all.
It's very cool. And I mean, the way it all pulls together is very clever. Yeah.
cute.
Yeah.
Anyway, priding himself on being a good cop, and he knows he should go downstairs and make an excuse to her now about why he has to go. But is that the sound of an orange being juiced? Is that
I know.
warming too?
It doesn't take a lot to kind of turn his mind, does it?
It's like, oh, I don't know.
Not at all.
Book, cold case. Oh, wait, pancakes. It's like, oh, squirrel, food.
I
That
did
part was
think
really
though,
funny.
it was funny, and it did make me think, what is the sound? Somebody's making something like it. What is the sound of an orange being juiced? Maybe she's got a machine. So I was like, if she was doing this, you would not be able to hear it upstairs. That's the way a writer has to think when your editor says to you, this wouldn't be possible, Leah. You would not be able to hear it. I'm like, oh yeah. But maybe she had a juicer. Maybe it was louder. Sienna, what are you doing? What are you making? Okay, that's fine. I've decided to come downstairs and they're making smoothies in the kitchen.
I
Sorry,
think
say that again? No, it's fine. Don't worry. I've got noise cancelling on. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay, great.
The very end is clever, where they're talking about Maya. She's so precocious, Ismay says. I've always wondered why Maya's mother chose Alice. Ismay flips a pancake and then she flips another. Who knows why people do what they do? And just leaves the whole thing, the book hanging,
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
Funny.
Who knows what people do? Yeah. And that takes us on to Ironhead. So in my book, it's 253. For the record, everything new is not worse than everything old. Parents with heads made from pumpkins have a baby with a head made from iron. I have, for what I assume will be very obvious reasons, been thinking about this one a lot lately. P.S. I also found myself thinking of A Bullet in the Brain by Tobias Wolff. You might give that one a read too. I do like all the constant book recommendations. We definitely should do a list of book recommendations for our children, shouldn't we? I think that's a great idea. Okay, so here we have the mother here. How do we feel about e-readers, ladies? Were
Not
you
a
with
fan.
AJ, or were you with Maya? Who were you with?
I will always love paper books. And I have an e-reader and I have hundreds of books in it, and I don't remember to read them because I can't see them.
I know.
I forget.
Yeah.
I forget where I was, and when I pick it up, and you want to just like flip back and go, okay, wait, oh, that was happening, right?
Yes.
I don't like that.
And it's interesting how when they first came out, people did think they would take over. They thought, that's it, that's the end of the paper book. And it just wasn't. There's a gorgeous secondhand bookshop not far from where I live called the Astley Book Farm. And they have like a hamster cage with an e-reader in it. And it says, do not feed. Right by the till. It's absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I was the same when I first started home educating, and I was trying to get my head around the Charlotte Mason books and things, living books. So I was downloading lots from that were recommended from Ambleside, just like looking at there, and they were easier to get on the e-reader, on the Kindle, whatever. But I still searched for the actual books all the time. And just like a couple of weeks ago, I was looking at my Kindle account. I was like, what are all these books? And it was almost the first, year of Ambleside all on there. And you've heard my story. Did I ever look at those books? Did we use them? No. I just found my own. I think we used some of the poetry, and we probably used like 50 tales or whatever it's called, 50 famous tales. But yeah, and they were like 75p and 99p. But no, I'm the same. I think that it's not a threat at all, is it? And I think that my daughter, so my 22-year-old, she's been working on a yacht for a year, so she had a tiny cabin to live in. So she reads and reads and reads and reads. So we bought her a Kindle, and she is never without it. She takes it everywhere with her. So for her, it was perfect because she didn't have to. Yeah.
Make total sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I used my Kindle a lot when I've had babies because it's so much easier to hold on to while you're nursing, or even nursing an older baby that likes to touch things and they'll like grab your book. And
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
a
That's
lot
true.
easier because I used to get cramps in my hands from holding the book and nursing at the same time.
Yeah.
So I used it a lot for that. And then there was also a time period where it was easier to get books on the Kindle from our library than it was to get them like the physical book. And they were producing
Sure.
a lot more copies. So I use it for times when there are hundreds of people waiting for like a physical book, but I can get the Kindle quicker.
Yeah, that's great.
Traveling,
That's great.
like traveling, it's
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. So here we have we obviously have very strong feelings from these gifts. AJ doesn't even finish opening his, and it kind of causes this bit of it's kind of okay, isn't it? It's almost like bickering. It feels like bickering because they do end up eating together, and it's not some kind of walk out the house
I do
argument.
think
But
it's a very odd present to buy when your son sells books for a living. Like, I think it's I
very,
don't know, like what is she trying to send some message? Has it got a deeper meaning? Did she just not think it through, or I don't know? It just seems really odd to me.
but then Maya's so excited about it. I wonder if she asked for it, and then the mum thinks, "Oh, I'll just get them all." And,
yeah, perhaps.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
He's obviously very impassioned because she says, "Dad, you're turning a bit red." AJ, are you unwell? Now, do we have? I may have forgotten this, but before the blanking out incident in the bed, do we have another time when he does that? Do we know about this?
No, I don't think so.
Are we just introduced to that, or have I forgotten? I felt
There
like
is
when
one.
she's is
In-
there, so I couldn't.
but I can't remember where.
No, I
right at the
couldn't
beginning.
either.
Yeah.
I thought he blanks out
Ah.
drunk though. Doesn't he blank out drunk? Like
No.
sometimes in the beginning he drinks a
Yeah.
lot.
He does. Yep, he
That's
does.
that's when the book is stolen, isn't it? So he does.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because
Yeah.
his sister-in-law, so she often comes and
She would come and
Clear everything up, yeah.
put him to bed. But I thought that was to do with drink as well. Yeah.
Maybe it was
It's
actually his
mentioned
question.
somewhere in the beginning of the book.
It is
Okay.
somewhere.
I can't remember where,
Mm.
but it is mentioned.
Because because otherwise that is very abrupt, isn't it? It's suddenly like, oh, he had one of his turns again. I was like, what?
Yeah.
Which turn? Yeah.
I noticed it the second time I read through it for the last book club. I was like, oh, there's one and there's one. I think there might have been like one or two, and I only noticed them the second time round. Yeah.
Right. So even if you read it just through once, you wouldn't necessarily know
No,
that
it
it was
really,
building
really,
to
really
that.
small.
Okay.
It's described differently. Like you wouldn't catch it.
Yes.
This is
Like he just zones out or
Yeah.
gets a word mixed up. Yeah.
yeah, he gets his chive instead of a child. None of this in the movie. I was like, wait a minute, I was surprised to not see the decline and
Yeah, they didn't do any of that, did they? No, that's right. Yeah. All right. So we skipped ahead a bit there. Yeah, I mean, do you just anything you want to share from any of this? How far this goes? Because the thing that really gets him to obviously go to the doctor is when he has one, when he's running. So that obviously then was like a wake up call to him, because he did that kind of typical thing. He blanks out for a minute and a half, and he's like, "Oh, it's okay. I'll find out what it is at my next checkup."
Yeah, you're kind of screaming at the book at that point, going, "Go to the doctors now!
Just go get checked out."
Yeah.
Yeah, when they said it, when it says it's 22 degrees out, I was like, "Oh, that's nice and warm," but actually they meant Fahrenheit. It's like, why are his hands blue when it's 22 degrees? That's why. This is not England.
Yeah, I like how even when he's in the hospital being told the kind of, bad news of what he's got, he brings everything back to books, doesn't he? And
Yeah,
writing, and
yeah.
he says things about, this would be like, or for TV as well and stuff. It's
Yeah. And even his example of the aphasia is the grapes of wrath became the grapefruit rag, and that's what he's remembering. It's all the book stuff.
Yeah.
But the Googling stuff and then like thinking about when you've seen it on a TV show, that's so normal. We all do that, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody does that. Do not Google your symptoms.
I just found it. Okay, and I couldn't rest. Page 38. Okay,
Yes, well
to-
done, Demelza.
He's
Okay,
talking to
30.
38 in this one. He's talking to Lambier's when Tamerlane's gone missing. Tamerlane, sorry. And he's at the very bottom. It says Ismay's at that moment. AJ freezes as if
I'm
someone
64th here. I just gotta grab my bag.
press the pause button on him. His eyes are blank and his mouth drops open.
Well
yeah,
done.
I missed that.
For nearly 30 seconds, AJ is frozen. Yes.
Oh.
An absent seizure. I had them lots a lot as a kid. I rarely have them as an adult, except when I'm unusually stressed.
Oh, yeah.
I knew it
So
was
is
there
that
somewhere.
basically saying he had the tumor, he had the condition all his life? I
Yeah.
hadn't quite processed that fully. Yeah. Wow. That is crazy. Thank you for that. We can all sleep better now. Did anybody think about the book when they were trying to figure out how they were going to get the money?
I did.
I did. Yeah.
It goes straight to after he visits with Lambier's, and then I'm like, oh, he told Lambier's,
Yes. Yeah. And that was his original like retirement plan, wasn't it, to sell the book? And
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And then we get this, and then we get the confession, which for my book is 272. So this is where we get the story, the actual really what happened. And this is, you see Ismay, like I'm a little bit like, oh, you were so rude and you were so nasty. But then she was being betrayed and hurt, and she was in so much pain herself, wasn't she, when all that was going on. And she's obviously ashamed of her behavior. I thought this bit was interesting when she says, how long have you known about this? Since the first night I spent at your house, and you didn't care. Why didn't you turn me in? Ismay's eyes are sharp. Because it wasn't my business, Izzy. I wasn't invited in your home as an officer of the law, and I didn't have a right to be looking through your stuff, and I figured there must be a story. You're a good woman, Ismay, and you haven't had it easy.
I was expecting her reaction to be more kind of indignant that he went through her stuff, to be honest.
Yeah, a bit more defensive.
Yeah, a bit more defensive and that sort of thing. Yeah, but I don't know. Perhaps sometimes when you've been holding like something like that, you're quite glad when it actually all comes out,
Right.
Perhaps that's,
yeah.
It's almost relief for her that, yeah, she's going to be able to confess to it all now.
That's true.
She wanted to be found out. She said that. She wanted Daniel to find it. She's been holding on to it for a long time.
She did, and he never looked, she said, didn't yeah. And I did feel for, yeah, Marion Wallace. I mean, gosh, she's so desperate, wasn't she? So desperate for help. Okay, so here we have the whole story. Anything else you want us to point out there?
Well, I'm just looking, it's the last page of the chapter. Thought it was really neat. How is any one book different from any other book? They are different, AJ decides, because they are. We have to look inside so many. We have to believe. We agree to be disappointed sometimes so that we can be exhilarated every now and then again. He selects one and holds it out to his friend. Maybe this?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah. We agree to be disappointed sometimes so that we can be exhilarated every now and again. Yeah. Yeah, if every book was incredible, we wouldn't really learn, would we? We wouldn't know how to have a good taste. Okay, so the last, I know we have done quite the last section. What we talked about when we talked about love, Renton Carver. You have to kind of go through it all again, hey, and look up all the books. What's it say at the bottom here? I have thoughts about this. Remember that a fine education can be found in places other. Is that an unfinished sentence?
It is in my book too, yeah.
Oh. Does somebody else, does it finish in other people's books? It's like a little asterisk at the bottom of the page.
where's
So it
that?
said, so under you and Amelia are my favourite people too. He's got that in brackets, AJF. And then there's like a little asterisk and it says, I have thoughts about this. Remember that a fine education can be found in places other. Do you think that's an editor's note?
Mine's
It's sad.
different.
Mine's different too. Yeah.
It's right here, look, at
Yeah.
the bottom.
Mine's exactly the same.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Ours looks like
did you say? Let's see, mine's instead with the thing, this accounts for much of the internet, of course.
That's what mine says too.
Oh,
Oh,
Yes,
that's interesting. It's a different edition, but it almost feels in ours. It feels unfinished, doesn't it? It's like what you're trying to say. Yeah.
Now, what did you
Uh,
say? Now I want to hear it.
It just says, I have thoughts about this. Remember that a fine education can be found in places other. But it's like it's an unfinished sentence. Like, there's not a full stop at the end of it, and it other than you almost feel like he wants to say something else. I didn't notice that. Strange.
That is strange.
I know. Okay, so he sells a book for $72,000. I know. I wonder if we've got books, guys, that are worth that much.
I'd
We
have to
just wouldn't
sell
want
off
to.
my entire lending library.
Yeah, I mean, you must be sat on something there, Tracy. Yeah, we don't want to sell them though, do we?
No, think
No.
I would will them to some other mom that would continue a homeschool.
I know. Me too. Yeah. I like this bit. I'll get a scholarship. I'll write the world's saddest admissions essay about how I was orphaned, an orphan abandoned in a bookstore by my single mother, and how my adopted dad got the rarest form of brain cancer. But look at me now, an upstanding member of society. People will eat it up, Dad. That's awfully crass of you, my little nerd. He calls us his nerd again. Laughs at the monster he has created.
Oh,
So sweet. So he has the surgery. We have this whole piece in the hospital room where we get a mention again of the original book that brought them together. what's it called again? What's the book?
The
The
late
late bloomer.
The Late Bloomer. That's right. And she still hasn't told him about the fake author who came. Who came.
That was
Told
That was hilarious.
him.
Erica said, I feel like I fell in love with this book the way AJ fell in love with Amelia. That's sweet.
Oh, that's so sweet. Yeah. And it took, and she says, doesn't she? It took, what did they knew each other for 4 years? And she's reminding him, you were so unkind to me. You were so cruel when you first met.
Yeah.
It all kind of comes out, all the emotion in the hospital room, doesn't it? Okay, and then
Oh, and then when he's actually kind of in recovery, because he's kind of in an isolation kind of ward or something, isn't he? I'm trying to find the bit, but he actually uses his e-reader then, doesn't he? Because he's not allowed to have books that are unhygienic or something.
yes, that's
It
right.
actually
That's
becomes very
right.
useful, yeah.
Yes. When he isn't throwing up or restlessly half
There we go,
sleeping,
yes,
he
that's
digs
it,
out
yeah.
the e-reader his mother
Mhm.
gave him last Christmas. The nurse deemed the e-reader to be more sanitary than a paper book. They should put that on the box, AJ quips. That's great. And he reads short stories, yeah.
I like that little quote about the short stories.
Yeah.
My novels certainly have their charms, but the most elegant creation in the prose universe is a short story. Master
Yeah.
the short story, and you'll have mastered the world. He thinks just before
And
it's off to sleep. I should write this down, he thinks.
there's no pen.
Oh,
I know, I love that bit. All right, last section.
Yeah.
The bookseller, roll down. I've never read that.
No, me either.
mm.
He continues to call her his dear little nerd.
I like that. And there, the point of it all is to connect, my dear little nerd. Only connect.
I know.
This whole first page of the last chapter, I think, was my favorite page of the whole book.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking,
Yeah,
isn't it? Yeah.
it is really, really
Just
heartbreaking.
think,
Yeah.
oh, not being able to communicate what you want to say to your child, and yeah,
Awful.
really, really hard.
Yeah, it's so simple. He thinks Maya. He wants to say, "I have figured it all out," but his brain won't let him.
Yeah.
So sad.
Of just the whole, my life is in these books. He wants to tell her, read these and know my heart. We are not quite novels. The analogy he's looking for is almost there. We're not quite short stories. At this point, his life is seemingly closest to that. In the end, we are collected works. Ah!
I know.
But
Reading has become difficult. If he tries very hard, he can still make it through a short story. Novels have become impossible. He can write more easily than he can speak. Not that writing is easy. He writes a paragraph a day. Paragraph for Maya. It isn't much, but it's what he has left to give.
It's just heartbreaking, isn't it? All of
Really,
it.
really
Just
awful. I know.
horrendous. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't want him to have the surgery.
Didn't you?
I didn't, because I thought, well, he's not going to have his mind. He's not going to be able to communicate. I would rather not.
And it
I
didn't really
know.
give him that much time either, did it?
No,
Really?
it didn't.
Like, I mean,
No.
no.
yeah, I think when they said, you know, after all that, it, you know, it hadn't shrunk or whatever, this, that, and the other, you know, you've got a year, and I was like, oh, well, yeah, it's so
Yeah.
traumatic, isn't it, to have done that?
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah, this bit's so sad. He is crying. His heart is too full and no words to release it. It's just,
Oh, it's horrible.
it is.
I thought that the way that the author, can you hear me? Sorry, I have like just a
Yeah,
couple.
yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm at my parents' house actually with my dad. He has Alzheimer's and he has aphasia. And so I thought that the way that the author dealt with this, it's kind of why I've been quiet because it's hard to talk about, you know, but I thought
Yeah.
she dealt with this was really beautiful because I see that with my father. It's different because it's Alzheimer's, but
Yeah.
it's still, you know, the same symptom, let's say.
Sure.
But the way that he writes and the way that he is, you know, trying to communicate, I see the same things in my father. And so I can see the research that the author had to go through, right, in order, or maybe it was personal experience, you know, and
Right.
she did it very well. Sorry, now it's windy.
It's all right.
But she did, the way she handled it was very delicate and also honest.
Mm.
Mm.
And I
Yeah,
was
it
totally
was.
crying through this whole part because it was
Oh,
really,
your poor
Oh, I
dad.
bet I can
Yeah,
imagine. Yeah,
that is hard.
really hard. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I can't even imagine. Still being able to think and process and feel, but not say it and not
Get it out. Mm.
get it out and tell people.
yeah.
Mhm.
And then 298, we get this paragraph that starts with, at the bookseller's funeral, the question on everyone's mind is what will become of Island Books. People are attached to their bookstores more attached than AJ Fikry would ever have guessed. It matters who placed A Wrinkle in Time in your 12-year-old daughter's nail-bitten fingers, or who sold you that Let's Go Travel guide to Hawaii, or who insisted that your aunt with the very particular taste would surely adore Cloud Atlas. Furthermore, they like Island Books. And even though they aren't always perfectly faithful, even though they buy ebooks sometimes and shop online, they like what it says about their town, that Island Books is right in the centre of the main strip, that it's the second or third place you come to after you get off the ferry. Yeah. They are important. Bookshops are so important, aren't they?
Absolutely. I wanted to take over the bookshop for him really bad.
No, I bet you did. Oh.
We've been having a bookshop so many times. It's just, oh.
Oh.
You know, at the part where Ismay says she's talking to Lambier's and I hope they'd find someone else to run the store, but the truth is Island Books wouldn't be the same without AJ, Maya, and Amelia anyway, Lambier says. Wouldn't have the same heart. True, Ismay says. It's gross, though. They'll probably turn it into a Forever 21. And I thought about the movie You've Got Mail was my favorites. The
Yes.
really depressing, like a baby gap.
Yeah, and I thought about You Got Mail a few times. The book around the store around the corner, what's it called? Yeah.
Up around the corner.
Yeah. Baby gap. This Jacob, this 27-year-old Jacob, armed with a half paid off master's degree in non-fiction writing, is ready. He can't believe his luck in landing his job. Sure, the pay could be better, but he loves books. He's always loved books. He believes that they saved his life. He even has the famous C.S. Lewis quote tattooed on his wrist. Imagine getting to be one of those people who actually get paid to talk about literature. C.S. Lewis tattooed on his wrist. Love it. All right. Well, any final thoughts then, my friends? Any final thoughts?
I enjoyed it more than I thought I was going to, this book, because I wasn't here for the first part. I watched the replay, and when I first started reading it, I was like, I'm not really into this, you know. And then it kind of, and then it picked up a bit for me, and then I was, I'm not sure, you know. But I did really enjoy it in the end, actually, when it all came together. And and now going through it again, I think actually no, I have enjoyed it. But it was a rocky start for me. I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, I know. Well, I know, and it was my risky pick of the year. Really, was this one because it's not the kind of book we've read before. But I had a friend recommend it to me a couple of years ago who is theatre, got a master's in theatre, and she just is literature nerd and everything. And she was like, "You need to read this book." So I always take her recommendations. So I thought, right, we'll try it on the collective. See how they
there
feel.
was one tiny little part in it, I'll have to share with you, that just literally made me spit my tea out. And it was, hang on, I marked the page, and I just thought, oh my gosh.
I'm so glad, Carol.
It's when they're going to the award ceremony, and it said the award ceremony is held at the high school, though it's just a gymnasium. The scent of balls of both varieties is still palpable, and I just,
oh my word.
oh my God.
So funny. It was so good.
Not expecting that, and I don't know. I could just imagine. I don't know. It was just horrendous.
Schools smell. Yeah,
I really just had to gather myself after that before I could carry on.
Very American thing to say too. Like, American, but yes.
Yeah.
No.
Any other final thoughts, guys?
One, just something it reminded me of, a book that it's about a father and daughter. It's a true story that read books together, called The Reading Promise. Have you ever heard of it?
I know.
It's My Father and the Books We Shared by Alice Ozma. And this woman, this woman and her dad, ever since she was little until college, read a book together every single night. He read aloud to her every night. If she was at a party, she would go in the parking lot. She goes, my dad's got to read to me. It's so unusual, but it's like she has all these books they read. And
wow.
I have heard of it, actually. Yeah, I have heard about it.
That's a great recommendation. Thank you. That's great.
It reminded me of that book too. I knew you were going to say that, Tracy, because I have that one as well, and I liked it a lot.
That is cool. Love it. Okay. Well, that is it for AJ. Thank you for joining us. Those are watching on the replay. Thank you, Carol, for being here and leaving your comments, even though you're busy doing mama things. So over July and August, we're going to be reading poetry together. So we've got two specific texts, but actually I'm open to people when we get together to sharing any poetry you've been reading. But I will put out a post, and a lot of the poetry you don't necessarily, you might be able to get them from the library, but a lot of the poetry included in these collections you can find online for free as well. So it's not like we have to go from beginning to end. And the idea with the poetry gatherings over the summer is that we all bring one. We bring one and we read it aloud and we talk about why we loved it. And, it's not a case of you must read through this whole collection to come and chat about it. So hopefully everyone will read a little bit more poetry than they normally do. Maybe you read a lot like I do. So I will share more about that. And it's not kind of like one book in July, one book in August. We're just going to be like dip in where you can. And it'll be fun. It'll be great. Okay, fab. Well, it is officially June. It's a wrap on June, isn't it? Look at that. We've done it. That's the last thing. And we're fully launching into the summer months, which is exciting. And yes, all the plan for the month will be up very soon. So thank you for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your warm evening, day, whatever you're doing. Stay cool, Jessica. Bye,
Yeah.
guys.
Bye.
All right.
See you.
See
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.